Welcome back to another episode of Rich Talk. Abiel here, and I'm here with Fausto. So today we have on one of our interchangeable Vieriche pieces, which is really cool. I think we should probably show the back of this.
That's you first, I'm second. This sweater comes all black. That sweater comes all gray. Because we was able to put this function that zips off the whole side panel, we can switch them back and forth.
A lot of the pieces that we've been doing lately, we're making them modular because our customers seem to really like this concept.
I don't know if there's any other brand that was really doing modular clothing the way we've done it.
We've basically taken elements from techwear and incorporated it into streetwear, basically. Yeah, and we have a lot of fun with this because it gives you a lot of different alternatives. Also got a lot of value for money because if you got two different colorways of the same style, you can switch it up in a few different ways. And oftentimes we're giving you the top and the pants that you can mix and match together.
Well, the pants you have on.
Pants actually go with this top, and the pants are gray on the other side and black on this side. So you can actually flip the pants around, rock it with the top. For more information, website is linked below. Let's get right into it. So one of the things we want to open up with today, which I think is a very relevant subject since we're both single men.
This is true.
The question is, should men in America be looking for love outside of America?
My quick answer is yes. I have two perspectives on that. Because I feel that women outside of America have a different skew on life.
Let's break it down for those of you who maybe haven't thought about this before. The interesting thing between me and Fausto is that we have different dating styles. We have different preferences when it comes to women.
True.
But I think intrinsically, as humans, we all look for the same stuff. Look for somebody who's honest, who's gonna treat us nice, who's not gonna stress us out.
Right.
Somebody who we could build with, et cetera, et cetera. Somebody whose morals and values are aligned to ours, who maybe has some of the similar preferences, kind of speak the same language, typically, you know what I mean? So I want to dissect that a little bit because I think it's important for the men, especially in our culture, because I think things have shifted in the last 10, 15 years of, let's say in the dating world. Like for me, at least, I'm watching this stuff in real time, and I'm fascinated by it every day because I'm a single man.
You know what it is? And let's not take away from the women in America. Let's not take away from them, right? Because there's some women in America that are really good women, right?
Of course.
But I think,
just like there's some good men.
But what I think is happening in America, what happened in America and women, is that the trauma that America put on these women has shifted the way they think and has skewed the way they treat men.
Yes, I think that's 1,000% true. But also, I think for me, one of the biggest contributing factors has been, I put a lot of pressure on the internet and social media. Obviously, this is not everyone, but I think the narrative is more widespread than it was ever before. I think for men and women, the perspectives have shifted and also the expectations have shifted. And I think what's happening with men is that men have lost their sense of masculinity. I hear this all the time because I have a lot.
I think women has a big fault in that. Who's gonna get into that?
Yeah, because for me, it's become a cycle. A vicious cycle. And I don't think we are to blame each other as male and female species. I don't think that's where the blame should be. It stemmed from a shift in society and technology. And I think what's happened is social media has created a false sense of reality for men and women. What I see happening is that women see a certain type of lifestyle that certain women influencers are living. And all of these women are aspiring to attain that lifestyle.
Okay.
But they don't realize that only 1% of the men out there can give them that lifestyle. Truly can give them that lifestyle. And out of that very small percentage of men that are able to give them that lifestyle, a very small percentage of those men are actually worth being with because intrinsically they're probably not great people. Think about what that does to the dating pool, right? Now you have this vast amount of women who have this perception of what reality should be, who are not actually in tune with what reality is. And they're shying away from the actual good men out there that are actually part of the bigger percentage.
70%?
No. I'm going to say that the majority of good men are not in that top 1%, right? Here's what I'm saying. Like, these women are ignoring the men who are below that 1% bracket. And oftentimes they're probably coming across men who are good men, but they're ignoring them because they're not able to give them that lifestyle that they think that's super attainable because they see all these influencer women living this stuff online, right? So this becomes a false narrative and perception that women are pursuing, right? On the other side, men also have lost touch of what it is to be a masculine man. And I hear women complaining about this all the time, and I ask myself, why has this happened? Like, why is it that men aren't like working for women like they used to? Why is it that they're not as cordial as they used to be? Why is it they're not courting women like they used to be?
Can I answer
Why is it
that?
that men are expecting for women to be the ones chasing them? You know what I mean?
Answer that?
Go for it.
My perspective. Feminism started that shift. Because women, to me, and this is my perspective, wanted to be equal, right? I want to work, I want to make money, da-da-da. When they achieved that, fine, they achieved it. Shout out to y'all women, y'all achieve feminism, and y'all can work, and we equal, y'all can buy houses, y'all can do all the things men do.
We support that, by the way. We're not macho men.
No, we support it 100%. Mm-hmm. But what happens is, because y'all wanted to be so independent, it took a load off men automatically. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even like, oh, I'm not gonna be manly. It's just, you're doing all these things, right? This is just energy. I'm not even talking about literally.
Yeah.
So it took away a load of men, because now you work too. We're both in the house. We both bring money.
Both contributing.
Right? You're saying you're telling the men, oh, you gotta watch the kids too, and you gotta change Pampers, and you gotta wash clothes. And some men are like, okay, cool, I'll do it. So now we're fake equal, but now it's shifting to the point where women want their old thing back. Mm-hmm. Now they want to go and say, no, I still want you to be masculine, open doors, pay for everything. I still want to make money, still want to be independent, but you still got to be the masculine man that I expect you to be.
Not to mention that a lot of these women are embodying a lot of masculine energy that they don't know how to keep in balance.
Automatically.
Because all of us have masculine and feminine energy, right? But it's about how do you keep that in balance? How you keep that in check? And look, you know what? I don't blame women for embodying masculine energy because, for example, single moms. I've come across a lot of single moms who have no choice but to embody a lot of masculine energy because they have to play both roles in the house. Right. You know what I mean? But I think it's for me, it's about equilibrium. As a woman, especially as a single mom who you had to embody so much masculine energy, when it comes to that dynamic of you dating and being with a man, you need to know when to let that guard down. Obviously, you're not going to do that with everyone, but with a man who gives you the right of way for you to be vulnerable, for you to be soft, because that's what us men look for. I think the important part is knowing when to let that guard down and put that masculinity aside and be a woman. You know what I mean?
You know what's the problem though? A lot of men, because of the whole shift, are not even being masculine.
And that's the thing. So
because when I date, I've had women tell me, wow,
right,
you really still open doors.
100%.
You still, God gives.
You know what the common denominator is between people like me and yourself? We're both above 40. You're 42, I'm 41. So we come from a place where we were born into the traditional way of culture, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, where family was bro, most people back then were getting married before 30. I just saw a statistic last week that in the 70s, I saw something that was 70-something% of most women under 30 got married.
Okay. And now?
Now that number is backwards. 70. The women married before 30 is down to 20-something% in America.
Yeah.
What does that tell you, right?
But
the priorities as young men and women has changed so much because of the dawn of the internet and social media, because the narratives overall have changed. And like I said, it goes back to men and women having this false sense of reality, and then the disconnect that's created between both identities. We're just in a vicious cycle.
I agree with you.
So everything is out of balance right now, and I don't see it getting any better because I feel like the generation that precedes us, the one that's coming after us, and even the one after us, which is all the young kids now, their world, when they become adults and start dating, is going to be completely different than what we're used to traditionally from what we know from our upbringing. You know what I mean?
Can we talk personal? I learned to be masculine very late in life. The way I was raised by a single mom. My dad died when I was young. And I really didn't have that masculine man to teach me open doors, do this. Actually, it was the opposite for me. I was part of that generation that had a lot of, and I'm gonna say for lack of a better word, feminine energy. Because I wouldn't really cater to women. I had to put life in perspective for myself and realize I don't wanna be that guy. I wanna be this guy that's respected, that's loved, that's treat women with tender and care and appreciate women for just being feminine.
Right.
Not for the feminism.
100%.
And I don't know if, like you said, because I'm 40 and we're 40, I got it. I don't know if these young kids are going to get it.
Tuning back in on what it means to be masculine and feminine. Because if you remove, as a man, if you remove what a lot of women are expecting, and it's like that monetary role, right? And like the breadwinner, what's left? Like, what is it? Like, if you're a woman who can provide for yourself, and when you remove that from the equation, it's like, what's left as a man?
Making you feel safe. That's what's left.
Safety and trust are the foundations, I feel.
For me, of a masculine man. If I can make a female feel safe around my energy, then money, all right, cool, second, which is another topic, because what I realized is that women have so much more money than men now. You know why? On the low. Women are producing, but men still got to do and pay for the dates and take and buy gifts and do other things. So men have to make way more money than women to equal out. But let's just say we both make $200,000.
Because they got to take care of themselves, and they also got to take care of the women.
The family, the women, the kids, whoever. If they had a different relationship, kids in the past, taking care of them, plus the new women, the new woman in their life. And women are just stacking. They're living.
100%.
Women's bank accounts are lit. But now back to the original topic. Should men go outside of the USA?
Wow, we went off on that one.
Yo, should men go outside of the USA to find that thing that the women in the USA have kind of...
So this question was triggered by a post that I saw of a woman who posted a reel, and she was basically highlighting why women in America are falling short and what the overall consensus has become in America. And basically the conclusion is that men are not valued as much as they should be, especially men who are intrinsically good men. Mm-hmm. And those men, a lot of those men are staying single for a very long time, and like not even, they're not having sex. Like, the statistics are there, like the numbers are there, like things have changed, right? And for me, what was interesting was that I went in the comments and I was expecting to find a lot of mixed like reviews. But what I actually found was a ton of testimonies of men who have left America and sought love in other countries like Colombia, Thailand, Latin America, Dominican Republic. And the general consensus of these real experiences from these men is that it is true. The woman was basically explaining that women in other countries still have a sense of like value. Like their sense of value is grounded, and they appreciate men
or just men. They just
in general. Like,
they want to take care of their family. They want to, they make $100,000, but it's enough for us to live and be happy. Mm-hmm. Versus the women in America is like, I've seen podcasts where women like, oh, what if... True podcast. The girl goes, "Would you date a guy that makes $200,000 a year?" She said, "Are you crazy? If he doesn't make $200,000 a month, I'm not dating him." How many men do you know make $200,000 a month?
I'm telling you, it's the 1%.
This is why women outside Colombia, they find a man that makes $70,000.
And they're chilling.
And they live a beautiful...
That's another subject matter, because I'm somebody who's traveled and I'm still traveling and going to these other countries and connecting with women from different cultures.
Purposely?
Yeah, purposely.
You're part of the...
I'm sort of kind of like part of the passport bros culture, but I'm not like, I live in DR, so by nature, I'm in a completely different realm than most Americans, right? And I see that. I see a difference when I'm talking to women in America and women, like local women.
Give us a testimony.
No, it's not even a testimony. It's just my general consensus from my own personal experience. Right. I can confirm the statement because I find that the local women in Dominican Republic have more traditional values. And I feel like they value men for the masculine reasons. And yeah, there are some out here who are also skewed, and they're also looking for men who are going to take care of them and like have an easy life. But there's still a great number of women who intrinsically are still have that connection to like the values that we had when we came up. And I've seen it in Colombia. I've been to Colombia plenty of times, and I've had really awesome connections with women out there. And that's the notion that I get from those women. Like, they're still grounded in that sense. So yeah, I think that statement is a true one. I have to say, like, I have to agree with what the woman was saying in that reel.
Leave comments. Let us know if there's something that we should talk. Maybe you should bring a girl into the next conversation of this.
I would love to see a woman's perspective. I mean, I've heard plenty.
but
and I think it's, like I said, going back to what we were saying earlier, I think there's a vicious cycle. But I want to touch on something when it comes to like life outside of America, because I feel like that's even though now is a topic that's talked about more than before. Take it from me as somebody who lived in New York for 30 years. I was born in the Dominican Republic, lived in New York for 30 years, and I've now been living in the Dominican Republic for 7 years of my life. To put it in simple terms, quality of life outside of America is so much greater in so many other places. From the perspective of expenses, what you can have, I live in a 6,000 square foot penthouse apartment in the Dominican Republic.
6,000 square foot.
And to give you guys a perspective for those of you who are in America, and I don't like to put my personal business out there, but I have to say this just so that you guys can get perspective. I pay $1,500 a month where I live. And I live in a great neighborhood, like one of the top neighborhoods in Santiago.
Basically, his apartment, it's a house.
It's a house inside of a building, essentially. Literally. You think about like how much I would have to spend to have that luxury in America. I mean, you guys know the numbers, like 20 grand a month, 15 grand a month for you to live like in a space that's 6,000 square feet.
Especially New York.
Right. And I can have that. Obviously, I'm in a very unique, privileged position because I can work from anywhere. And I also have businesses that I've established in the Dominican Republic. So
but you did that. You deserve it.
I worked really hard to attain that life that I was looking for and I was longing for.
Nobody gave it to you. Nobody handed
that to me.
Exactly.
But I saw an opportunity because I started traveling and I saw the way that you can live life in other places where for me it was attractive. Like for me to move from California at the time, because I moved to Cali for a bit, I moved to DR, I dropped, just in rent expenses alone, my expenses went down 80%. So think about how much money you're able to save. And then I managed to figure out how to make more money living abroad than I did stateside.
That's fine.
So imagine how life-changing that could be, right? And I think most people don't realize, like, they're so kind of like hung up on the challenges that come with moving or like the fear of the unknown that people limit themselves to a much better quality of living when they don't explore life outside of America.
Right.
And that's something that I kind of like, I really want to put out there because I've done my fair share of highlighting like what that is on my personal social media, but I only have, I have a small amount of followers comparatively. And I think that's something that, especially now, like 2025, 2026, life in America, things have changed. And I feel it every time I travel. Like the expenses of living in America are astronomical and the earnings are just not adding up to what the expenses are in America. And I have so many friends that are like seriously struggling because of the shift that's happened, especially after the pandemic. And now more than ever, I think you guys should be paying attention to what life can be like exploring places outside of America. I don't know if you want to add anything else. I feel like I kind of put this one on the chokehold because I've been living in DR for the last 7 years. So I have a lot of perspective when it comes to like living in and outside of America,
Well, I think that New York in particular gives you this, people are surviving. I live in New York. I make good money. But people in general are surviving. Even me making good money, I feel like I'm surviving somewhat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's the key. You're surviving. And I always say this, like, especially after I got all this perspective, like the difference between people living in America and outside of America is that in America, you live to work. The concept is not that when you come to like Dominican Republic. People work to live. Mm-hmm. And like people take their holidays very serious. People take their weekends very serious. Like people are clocking out exactly at the time they're supposed to clock out, and they're gonna go enjoy life.
Right.
Like that's the type of life that we all should be living because tomorrow's not promised, bro. Like that notion of like working till you're 65 and retiring, that's such a obsolete like American dream mindset that is like why do we want to work until we're 65 and like start enjoying life then?
I think people's realizing that a lot.
Like they are.
The new culture.
There's definitely more. What I mentioned in the last episode, like woke culture, and I'm calling that for lack of a better term, like people are definitely more woke to everything now than there ever was before.
Right.
But I still feel like the majority of people are still stuck in the old ways and they're not evolving with the times.
Let's keep talking about America and all these things and how they're still like they're getting left back. I want to say that. Mm-hmm. Food. Let's go there. Mm-hmm. Fast food. I saw a podcast where this guy took out a Big Mac from 3 years ago and it was still perfectly the same from when he bought it. Versus there was somebody in China that bought the same Big Mac and in a week it was rotten. Literally mold on it. Showing both. This is 3 years old. This is a week, but it was bought in China.
And this is another deep rabbit hole that we can go into. And I feel like it deserves a completely different episode, but I've witnessed that for myself. Like the way that food makes me feel in America versus DR and other countries that I've been to. Like I just got back from Colombia not even a month ago. I was in Mexico before that. And I started paying attention after that trip when I got back home because there was certain, like I started having stomach issues and I was questioning like, is this something with the local food or what is it?
Right.
And what I realized when I started going into my own pantry at home and my refrigerator, I started seeing all the things that I'm consuming. I'm mainly consuming American products.
Interesting.
And here's the crazy part. I had this realization with almond milk. And I'm going to use this one example because this was an eye-opener for me. So I consume a lot of almond milk because I stopped drinking regular milk many years ago, and I've been resorting to almond milk for a long time. And when I was having some stomach problems, I was like, man, am I becoming sensitive to seed oils? Because obviously seed oils are not great for you. And I got back home from my trip, and I started checking everything at home, and I realized all the American imported products that I have all have seed oils. And I was like, holy shit, there's a problem here. So then I went on this short journey to the supermarket. I went to the supermarket like 3 times after this, looking for stuff that didn't have seed oils. And I had a very hard time, first of all, because most of the things that I found had seed oils. Right. Now, I managed to find 2 different brands that are very simple ingredient almond milk products. One of them is imported, but it's very expensive. And the other one was branded by the supermarket. And it was half the price of the one that's imported. Wow. So then I obviously went and bought the one that was the supermarket brand because it was very simple ingredients and didn't have any seed oils. Right. And I'm like, hell yeah, right? I get home, and then I picked it back up because I was going to use it, and I saw it's made in Spain. Spain. And I realized that now, because DR, obviously we have a lot of Spaniard influence, apparently the supermarket is now outsourcing some of their products to Spain and bringing it here to DR because I'm assuming it's cheaper for them to do that rather than importing stuff from the States. And I'm like, holy crap. Now I'm going to be going to the supermarket and looking for the supermarket branded stuff because it looks like they're now outsourcing some of these products from Europe. And in Europe, they have different rules and regulations when it comes to the FDA, the American FDA, where the stuff that's banned in Europe is perfectly permissible in America. Right. And that's another subject matter that we could talk about. But the point is that life outside of America gives you access to food that's way better for your body, which then is going to result in a higher quality of life. You're going to live longer. You're going to be healthier. You're going to be able to enjoy your time on this planet a lot better than stay in America and continue to feed into the shit that you have no other choice but to feed into because that's what's available to you. And having a lower quality of life that's more expensive, that truthfully you're just like working life is very monotonous, especially in New York. Like when I lived there, that's what made me want to leave, right? So yeah, the general consensus is look at life outside of America. I'm living proof.
Rich talk by BL.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all good.
I stole the show on this one.
No. It's good because your perspective is very on point because you live in it, and we respect it. I respect it, and
you're someone who obviously is working your way into retiring in DR relatively soon.
100% in the next 4
And what are your motives? Because maybe you should add
everything you just said. Everything. It's just true. It's just true. I'm tired of the feel. No matter how much money I make, I'm always gonna feel like I'm surviving. Because in the United States and in New York in particular, or places like Miami, there's a competition. So even if I make more money, I'm technically spending more money because I'm upgrading, right? Mm-hmm. So it just keeps me in this rabbit hole feeling of like surviving.
When we break it down and it's like, what is the true definition of rich or wealth, right?
Which is a whole nother.
Right. Most people associate that with money. And for me, who as somebody who has enough perspective because I've been around 41 years, it's time.
That's a great perspective.
And obviously, money, not to cut you off, money is a gateway to creating that time. So I'm not saying that money is not important, but for me, money shouldn't be the motive. I think the motive should be, how do I create more free time to live a higher quality of life and create a life where I have the time liberty to have a higher quality of life and spend my time how I want to spend it. If you guys are enjoying the content, hit that like button. And yeah, we plan on continue to deliver this type of content on a weekly basis and touch on a lot of different subjects. It's not just going to be about fashion for us, because for us, it's more of a cultural thing. Like we want to have dialogue about things that are relevant and things that on a day-to-day basis, things that we talk about on a personal level.
Yeah, we talk about on a personal level.
And a lot of times we're having conversation and we're like, we were just having a conversation before we started with this gentleman here, and we're like, this should have been on a podcast because this is a very interesting topic. So that's what we want to do. We basically want to start putting some of our conversations into content so that you guys can hopefully enjoy and take some gems and some value out of some of the conversations.
And give us back perspective.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Like
we definitely want to get feedback. So any comments, any perspective, anything you guys want to contribute, we're very engaging too. So like we're happy to connect with you guys. So anything you guys want to recommend or anything you want to comment, even if it's controversial, even if it's uncomfortable, we're down to talk about it.
Even if you don't agree with us.
Yeah, even if you don't agree with our viewpoints.
For sure. Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is,
if you guys want to find us on social, it's linked below. Also our brand. Thank you for taking this time to watch this content. Until next time.